The final score, Wrexham 2, Blackpool 1. And for so many years, Blackpool have been seen as our unlucky team. We never seem to be able to get a result against them. Well, we got a result this time, and we weren't the unlucky team, let's put it that way. Don't get me wrong, the performance, I think, definitely merited the 3 points. But the way we got that winning goal, well, highly dubious. Anyway, Wrexham coming into the game off the back of that hugely frustrating game at Bristol Rovers, really strong performance, and yet we didn't kill them off. We really should have done, and ended up conceding a late equaliser, as we had the game before against Cambridge. The opposition then were a lot more impressive. Well, this time, we got the late goal with a big slice of fortune, but it was a strange old day. Foggy, difficult to make out what was going on at times. Wrexham were caught out with a sloppy goal conceded after just 3 minutes. Unlike us to let in an early goal, but a throw-in, which Husbands threw in. Coulson popped it back to him, and Husbands was able to hold off Cannon and get a great driven cross in at the head height to the near post. Fletcher hurled himself between Brunt and O'Connell. Great aggressive target man playing, and headed it into the net from close range. Howard absolutely helpless. And wow, a remarkable start by Blackpool, and Wrexham are behind. Blackpool had brought a good number of fans with them as well. They were making fantastic noise, and Blackpool continued to build on that. The first 10 minutes belonged to them. They had another big opportunity as well. In Lee Evans, they got a midfielder who, well, would prompt well. He was very good, I thought, in the middle of the pitch, but also has a long throw. He hurls one into the near post. Ollie Palmer gets ahead to it, but can only deflect it towards the edge of the area. About 15 yards out, 10 yards out, where Coulson, arriving, makes contact with a header, which goes just wide of the post. A big opportunity. Wrexham start to pull ourselves back into the game. The big diagonals to James McLean are working, because Apter, who's playing on the right of a 4-4-2 in midfield for Blackpool, is tucking inside or is staying up to try and get around the sides of Wrexham's defence, and as a result McLean is getting some space, and we keep feeding him, and he keeps cutting inside a fire. His final ball doesn't usually work, but it's a good way for Wrexham to get a foothold into Blackpool's half. Our midfield start to settle into it. To be fair, from the very start, the two outstanding players of the match, Owen O'Connell and Ollie Rathbone, are tremendous. Even when we're struggling, they're doing their bit. O'Connell making good interventions, using the ball well on the floor to try and get us forwards, and Rathbone likewise battling to win the ball and progressing play when he gets it. And we started to put pressure on. We had a spell where a couple of shots are blocked in the box, another good block on the edge of the area, Blackpool defending very well, and then a McLean corner where Palmer leapt and just mistimed it, didn't make contact. So we were playing better, but it was all feeling a bit like Bristol Rovers. We're on top of the game now, but we're not really getting the chances perhaps we should do, until the 24th minute, when the moment we've all been waiting for happened. Everyone's been saying when Paul Mullen ends his drought of 13 games without a goal, that it'll probably just deflecting off his backside. Well, it wasn't. I promise you, that type of goal. Throw down the line, Palmer flicks it on nicely, Mullen receives it. Oh, it's just magnificent. Receives it, pops it up with his thigh, and then hits a glorious dipping volley as the ball comes back down over the keeper Tyra, who's absolutely helpless, and inside the far post from the corner of the box. A brilliant goal by Mullen. Even with no added context of him struggling for goals, it's one of the all-time great Mullen moments. Wow, but what a finish it was. And Wrexham then are cock-a-hoop and keep pushing on. However, apart from that Mullen strike, we really don't create much in the first half, despite some good pressure. And Blackpool have a couple more opportunities. The first one, I think the referee maybe should have intervened in. because Fletcher, for me, backs into Brunt, sends Brunt flying. Fortunately, Brunt wasn't hurt. It was a ball in the air. Brunt goes flying over the top of Fletcher and lands awkwardly, but thankfully was all right. But with him out of position on the floor, the Blackpool were able to break. Joseph, the other striker on the right, bursts down the flank well, gets the ball in to the edge of the area. Apter's got time to measure a shot, hits it well, but Cleworth makes a superb block on the edge of the 6-yard box so that Howard is protected. Howard couldn't be protected 2 minutes before the break. He makes an unbelievably good save. Evans with a free kick. He put a lot of good set pieces in. Sweeps it into the far post. It gets a little flick off somebody's head, which just, I think, deceives the defence, and it carries all the way across goal to Casey. The ball arrives lower, I think, than he expects. He does well to improvise, attempt to deflect it on the volley towards goal, and absolutely gets the meat of his foot on it. It goes like a rocket off his foot, beautifully timed. Howard is moving to his right. Suddenly the ball is zipping at high pace low to his left, and somehow he flings himself down and manages to get a strong left hand on it as it's crossing the line to deflect the ball clear. It's a save which Arthur Okonkwo would have in his best saves reel, put it that way. It's an utterly superb save, and it means we go in level at the break. And the second half is a very different affair. We start well and we take complete control, and Blackpool suddenly find themselves having to desperately defend their penalty area as we are completely on top. There is a spell after about 70 minutes, as I'll get to, where it changes. But apart from that, Wrexham really were terrific in the second half, and we did make chances. The first one comes with 10 minutes gone in the second half, and it's a chance for Tyra to make his great save. Rathbone, driving into the box, stands the ball up. A defender heads it partly away, and it's a superb piece of improvisation by Ryan Barnett, because it's dropping awkwardly for him, but he somehow manages to sort his feet out and get a really good contact on it. Now, from our commentary position, we are bang behind Barnett, and I can tell you, it's flying at pace into the bottom left corner. The keeper does really well to get down and push it away. It looks good on the footage from the camera on the other side of the pitch, but I promise you, if you were in our position, you'd see just what a good save that was, because Barnett did ever so well. There's not much backlift, and he nearly catches Tyra out. I think a lesser goalkeeper, Tyra on loan from Everton, looked good. Would have been caught out. Within a minute, Wrexham are threatening once more. Diagonal plays towards Palmer, who does really well. In the second half, Palmer is crucial. He really takes control of those centre-backs. He's winning everything in the air. He's clever and he's strong. On this occasion, that cleverness exhibits itself when he basically pens Pennington, because he sees that McLean is going around the outside for this when a big diagonal's played in, and so Palmer in pinning Pennington down, beg your pardon, make sure neither of them can win it, and therefore the ball will carry over their heads to McLean. McLean's cross is blocked, but here's where Ollie Rathbone steps in. Tremendous work. He just will not let the move die. He keeps the ball in there, fighting, and even when he loses the ball, he gets a challenge in to make sure Blackpool can't clear it. Ultimately, it's fed back to him by Brunt in space, and he cuts inside from the left flank, drives a great cross into the near post. Mullin has made a wonderful run diagonally to hit the ball at the near post. It's a difficult finish, because he's running across the goal and away from it. He's outside the near post, but he gets a nice little flick on it to try and lift it across the keeper. Just gets a bit too much on it and it goes over the bar, but great play by Rathbone and by Mullin. After 63 minutes, Fletcher comes on. He will turn out to be the winner for Palmer. I've got to be honest, I wondered whether Palmer, who was really causing issues, should be given another 10 minutes, to be frank. Not that I've got a better idea than Phil Parkinson of what to do, obviously, but Palmer really was red hot in that second half. Still, you've got to manage him because he's our starting target man, and we've got a couple more games coming up very quickly, so I think this is partly pre-planned just to manage him through these matches. we actually do lose a bit of our momentum there. And I'm not saying necessarily it's linked to Palmer's absence, but we aren't making the ball stick as much. Fletcher is getting more just like straightforward balls to try and flick on rather than hold up. And we just lose a bit of momentum. 20 minutes left though, we have another moment. Brunt standing the ball up to the edge of the box. This time Fletcher's got targets to aim for. He nods it down beautifully for Mullin, and Mullin, great work, just uses the pace of the ball as it goes across him. Mullin's back to goal to roll his marker, and then he loses balance as it goes across him. He's got to hit it while he's off balance, and he does really well to keep it down and make a good contact on it as he falls. But Tyra is across quickly, full stretch to hold it as it's heading towards the bottom corner. Good effort by Mullin, good save by Tyra. There's briefly action at the other end from a set piece, and it could have been costly for Wrexham. Another good set piece delivery by Evans, put into the near post. Joseph manages to lose his marker. He's unmarked, real close range, but he arrives on it a bit early and can't control his header. It goes comfortably over. Wrexham make alterations, and he he throws himself into games, doesn't he? He doesn't tend to play the full 90. Dobson comes on for him, and he gives a good pair of fresh legs on that right side of the midfield three. Farl comes on for Mullin with 5 minutes left, and Farl would have a nice little cameo, causing issues with the centre-backs. I wonder if one particular incident involving Farl was very important in terms of the penalty that we get. Because 30 seconds before it's awarded, the ball comes into the box. Pennington is challenged by Farl and goes down. At the time, I really thought it wasn't a foul. Looking at the replay live without a chance to look at it properly, obviously from commentating, I stuck with my decision. I've just looked at it now. Okay, maybe it is a foul actually, but it's not a huge contact from Farl, and Wrexham aren't happy. And maybe that's living in the referee's mind, because 30 seconds later, after Blackpool have cleared it and Wrexham have gone long, Fletcher is wrestling with Pennington outside the box to get after a big diagonal that's dropping on the edge of the area. It looks more of a foul for me than the one Farl commits. Fletcher has his hands on Pennington. To be fair, maybe Pennington's starting position isn't great, and Fletcher's just quick and smart enough to get the wrong side of him, and Pennington's desperately trying to recover. Clearly, that's what the referee thought. But like I say, for me, Fletcher looks more like he's impeding Pennington than Farl was. The referee lets it carry on, though, maybe with a Farl challenge in mind, and then him feeling he was a bit harsh. And Fletcher, let's not overlook this. It's a great piece of technique by Fletcher, because he having brought it down, it looks like a glorious chance. It is, but the ball's not sitting down for him comfortably at all. He's got to try and tame it, and he has a really nice little touch as he's bringing it down, and then tries a sort of hitch kick volley, because he knows if he doesn't strike it soon, the chance will be gone. And here's when it becomes an issue, because the ball strikes the other centre-back, Casey. The referee takes a while to think about it. Maybe he's hearing what the linesman's saying, and gives a penalty. Blackpool are astounded. And they've got every right to, because it's not handball. It's not handball. Casey jumps, awkwardly, with one arm right up in the air. And if the ball hits that arm, it's a penalty, I think, no matter what. But it doesn't. His other arm is tucked in. And I would say if it hits that arm, it's not really a penalty. But it doesn't. It hits his back. It's not a penalty. I don't know what the referee thinks he saw, but he's wrong. But he points to the spot, and Stephen Fletcher, after Blackpool's understandable protests have died down, very coolly steps up. Tyra goes a bit early to his left, and Fletcher just very coolly drives it into the opposite bottom corner, and Wrexham have the winner. Blackpool, naturally, with a good chunk of time added on, try to put pressure on us. They don't create anything. Wrexham's defence has been very good throughout, and in fact we have the one remaining moment of danger, after Mo Farl first had broken really well down the right and then did something with the ball, but nobody's quite sure what. If he was trying to launch across towards McLean, didn't get close to him. If it was a shot, it was a crazy idea. Went for a throw by the corner flag. I suppose he wasted a bit of time. But he does very well in the first minute of added time. Good combination with him and Fletcher. Fletcher nods it down. Fowle feeds it back to Fletcher on the flank, and Fletcher, it's cute, it looks like he's going to the corner, and then hits a lovely back heel that feeds Fowle on the edge of the box. Great feat by Fowle to receive and deceive the defender. And as he goes past him, there's a lunging challenge, and Fowle is very honest, stays on his feet, skips past it. He's off balance because of the challenge, tries a shot from a tight angle and drills it into the side netting. Well, the Blackpool press was telling me after the game, I haven't actually heard it myself, that Steve Bruce said if the ref had given a penalty for that one, he wouldn't have had a problem with it. It's the actual penalty it was given that had a problem with. But certainly Fowle was very honest, and good for him for wanting to get a shot off. But if he'd gone down, well, they'd given the ref a decision to make, mind you. Often given that earlier penalty call, maybe Fowle's right not to see if the ref's brave enough to give 2 contentious penalties. But anyway, we see it out, and it's a big, big win, not least because the other two sides, the sides above us, also won. Look at that table. Huddersfield won 2, they're directly below us, but if you look beyond Huddersfield, there's a gap forming between the top 4 and the rest, and that's very encouraging, isn't it? Looking at the performances, well, Howard, again, really, really good work, and that save. Oh, that save. I mean, it was just something else. And his accuracy of kicking gives Palmer the chance to battle with those centre-backs and win the battle. So, massive credit to him, but like I said, I can't help going back again to that save. That was a hell of a save. I thought the centre-backs were all very good. Cleworth in particular, I thought that he was very, very strong defensively. Got some key blocks in as well as some good work tackling. I said that in the middle, O'Connell was outstanding. Not only in his physicality and his defending, but also the way he was driving us forwards, hitting some great diagonals out to pick out McLean in particular. And yeah, it was a fine performance by him. And Brunt as well was strong once more. Again, he's prolific in the air, used the ball well, broke forwards well on a couple of occasions. The back 3 were excellent, I thought. As for the wing backs, Barnett again had a decent game, put some good balls in. We put more down the left, as Steve Parker admitted in the first half. But Barnett also was good defensively too. McLean was again that bristling aggressive presence, caused problems for a Fire, the right back. Was cutting inside him at will. I think Blackpool had to drop Morgan off a little bit to just cover the fact that McLean was cutting inside of Fire so effectively. And still McLean, though, was a presence in the second half, especially late on, because of that boundless energy driving down the pitch when other players are tiring. In the middle of the pitch, yeah, Natty James, again, quality, his intelligent use of the ball, his organising skills as well. He's constantly talking, and when the ball's dead, he's organising his team for the restart. I thought it was another mature performance by him. Either side of him, Cannon, again, energy, didn't have as much impact on the game maybe as he sometimes does, but you can't fault him for his efforts, and he works hard when he hasn't got the ball. And then on the other side of the midfield is the other absolutely outstanding performance, Rathbone, non-stop from start to finish, energy, heart, just keeps going and going and going. Put a couple of good free kicks in as well. I think I can go in O'Connell for man of the match, but there's a hair's breadth between O'Connell and Rathbone, both of whom were outstanding. Up front, Palmer does his big pat on the back. Again, like I said, he really made our good second half performance possible with the way that he was dominating the centre-backs. And then alongside him, Mullin, brilliant. I mean, I've got to say, the crowd vote, understandably, gives Mullin man of the match, and I'm not arguing. I mean, it was a wonderful, wonderful goal. And he had, like I said, that other effort that the keeper saved well, and the one he flicked over the bar. And as ever, he's making all those runs, and yeah, he links so well with Palmer. I would say that coming off the bench during this dry patch he's had better performances, to be honest. Ironically, though, because he wasn't able to take the chances, everybody was on his back. A lot of people were on his back. And as he's just had an operation on his back, that's not a smart thing to do. But no, I mean, he was very, very good. Very good. Fair play to him. But yeah, I feel he's been playing well and getting into those good positions throughout the dry run. It's just the ball wouldn't go across the line for him. Let's hope this is the start of something, eh? But yeah, huge credit to him too. And then off the bench, like I said, Dobson was energetic. Farrell put in a nice little cameo. He really gave problems to the centre-backs. They didn't enjoy having him going at them. But Fletcher, of course, is the match winner. Kept his cool and slotted the ball home. I think the work out he's our third highest scoring substitute at the racecourse in our history. I think that's right. And our fifth oldest or fourth oldest scorer of all time. Long may it continue. He's got such character and such quality, and yeah, he won us this one in the end, didn't he? With the final score of Wrexham 2, Blackpool 1. I'm Mark Griffiths from Wrexham AFC.